Thanks to this book, this shelf is pretty much the only thing left in my house. Hey there, welcome back to AmyTV. It's time for another episode of #AmyTV Book Club. Yes, we love to read around here, do we not? No, we do. If you don't know what AmyTV Book Club is, every 6 weeks or so, we read a book together. I announce what it's going to be on my Instagram, usually in stories, but you can always find out in one of my highlights what the latest book is, so that we can read it together, so that when I upload my thoughts on it, like this video today, we can actually feel like it's a real book club and we have engaged in the reading process together. Last time we read Perfect is Boring by TYRA Banks, which was so much fun to see what you guys all thought of that. If you want to watch that recap video, click the link in the description below. Today we're going to be reviewing a book that is not terribly old, but I would still call it something that I totally missed the boat on. It came out in 2014. It's all about decluttering that life of yours. We can all relate to that. And that is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. So grab a coffee, take a seat, get ready, because you're about to want to throw everything out that is in your house currently. Before we get started, make sure you're following me on Instagram so you don't miss every single book announcement for AmyTV Book Club. Like I said, it's going to be in my stories. And then you want to make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss the reviews, like this one. When it comes to reading a book, I have a procedure for everything. I'm sure that's no surprise if you've been around here for a while. I actually made a video about this called How I Read a Book, and it breaks out into 3 stages: the reading stage, the download stage, and the execution stage. Now, the reading stage might be a little bit obvious at this point. I basically open up a book, open up my Kindle, turn on an audiobook, open up an app, and I start reading. But for those of you who are thinking, okay, I just want to hear Amy's recap because I never have time to read. Well, if you want to be a better reader, but you want to start with the least amount of time possible, I want to introduce you to today's sponsor of AmyTV Book Club, and that is Blinkist. When I found out about this app, I was so excited because you should see the number of books that are on my to-read list. You can see on goodreads.com how many books I want to read, but there's nowhere near enough time for me to be able to do it. I would never get anything done. Well, Blinkist is an app that condenses all of the best info and insights, the high points of thousands of nonfiction books in just a 15-minute reading session or listening session. So audiobook lovers, you're gonna like this too. If you don't have 15 minutes, you don't have a life. And I know that you do because you're taking the time to watch this channel. So if you really wanna read more, I want you to give this a try. The first 100 people who go to Blinkist.com/AmyTV are going to get 1 week of access to this app for free. Think about how many books you can read, 15 minutes each, in a week. Hello, free. If you decide to stick with it, you will get 20% off your full membership simply for giving it a try. Check out the link in the description below and get your read on. In this particular case, I read this book while on my honeymoon in Aruba on my Kindle, and then I just had to buy a hard copy because I knew I was going to talk about it and I was going to share it with you, and obviously it needed to look Instagram beautiful. So Kindle doesn't really look that great. Had to buy a hard copy. So we're going to pick this review up from the download phase, which is essentially me reviewing all of the most highlighted things in the book, the biggest points that I took away from The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. To start, this is obviously a decluttering and organizing book, mostly pulled from an art of the Japanese culture. The biggest thing here is that you're gonna throw a lot of things away, okay? If you're really tidying up, there's not gonna be that many things in the first place that you're gonna need to tidy up at the end of this whole process, because ideally you've gotten rid of all the stuff that doesn't really matter anymore. One thing I found really interesting is sort of a big piece of advice: tidying up in one shot rather than little by little. We often hear very different advice in different areas, especially in 2018. Sometimes little by little is a lot more approachable to people. They can't spend all their time doing one big project in one full swoop, and so they try to do bite-sized pieces in order to get it done efficiently. This book is suggesting, no, you need to pretty much take a weekend, a week, a month, who knows, to completely tidy up your house, meaning find all the crap and get rid of it. Depending on your situation, I could totally see this to be valuable, mostly for the purpose that they're advising being you need a change of mindset. If you are tidying up, if you have this issue where there's a whole lot of things going on, things surrounding you, and it's consuming you, it's changing your mindset to be cluttered rather than to be clear. So in order to fix your mindset, you have to have a really big difference in real life. Oftentimes, when you do something in a big way, quickly or somewhat quickly, reasonably or relatively quickly, you're more likely to see that change so fast that your mindset changes much faster. Rather than what we're all used to, going to the gym every single day for 6, 7, 8 weeks and still not seeing any results because it takes time. You don't have to do that in this case. You can do everything at once, you can see a big difference, and your mindset will change, which makes you stay tidy in the long run. The main points of this process are pretty much 2 things: discarding stuff and then deciding where everything else goes. I think the reason this book made a big splash is because we're used to hearing, okay, just get the right compartment for things, put them all in said compartment thing, and you've tidied up your stuff. This is saying, okay, stop buying more things to put things in and just get rid of more things, and you won't have as much that you need to clean. I don't know why that's been such an aha moment for me. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I do have more stuff than I actually need. You know, Amazon Prime. And then from there, once you have pared everything down, you just decide where it goes, which in theory is a lot easier because you have so much more space to decide where it's gonna go and make sure that it is in the right place and the most efficient place for your everyday. I really liked the piece because you know how I like details. I like specifics. I like to know exactly how to go in on something. I really liked how Marie talked about you organize or you discard or you decide where things go by category, not by location. So it could be really easy to just go, okay, I'm gonna clean the bedroom today. And so you go underneath the bed and you go into all the drawers and into the closet and all the places and you organize all that stuff. But there's so many different types of things you've probably accumulated in all of those places. I know for one that in theory the camera gear is in my office. I got plenty of extra tripods and things I don't use underneath my bed. That is so sad to say out loud. So it doesn't really help me to organize just the bedroom if I'm still gonna have to deal with camera gear down the road. So I definitely think that that was a huge moment for me. It was like, oh, get all of the socks in one place, no matter who they belong to or if they are matching. And then get rid of the crappy ones, keep the good ones, and then put them where they go. That makes so much sense to me. I honestly think if nothing else, that was probably one of the biggest things I took away. It sounds so simple, but that was one of the biggest things. Another big part of this book is the idea of how you decide to keep something. What this book is known for is picking something up in your hand and saying, does this bring me joy? I can honestly say that this does bring me joy. It has motivational quotes from famous and fabulous people every single day of the year. I look forward to ripping off the page every single day and even maybe tweeting one of them if I liked them well enough, and then going back to what the rest of my day is. Going through that thought process makes me now look at that calendar on my desk and go, I'm so glad you're here. And so if that's not weird, going through that process with all of your things, like an old pair of jeans that you're trying to convince yourself you're going to wear at some point, or something that's been in the corner of a room for some reason because you don't know where to put it and you've been trying to figure out if it's worth throwing away because you paid money for it. When you look at something and go, does this thing bring me joy? It is such an eye-opener. Now, if you actually follow her order of events and what you should be vetting per category at a time, start to finish, it is a lot easier, especially when that first thing that she wants you to start with is your clothes. I know you could go into your closet right now and look at something and be like, okay, look, jacket, I've been keeping you because fall is coming. But I recall strongly that I didn't wear you one time last year. And in fact, I took one great Instagram photo with you 4 years ago, and that is the reason you're still here. But when I look at you, you do not make me happy. You don't bring me joy. You give me a sense of obligation. And look at how much space you're taking up. Honestly, get it together. Hopefully you're not having that long-winded of a conversation with every item of clothing in your closet, but you know what I'm talking about and you know how relatable that is and you need to just get rid of it. I have pretty much been wearing the same exact outfit on every single video for the last few weeks because I've done such a good job of this. I did buy a new sweater because I knew that I was gonna say that out loud. So those were some of my biggest takeaways from the book. Now we're moving into sort of the execution stage of how I read, and my rule is that every time I read a book, and it's at least one that I mildly enjoyed. So let's say it's 4 stars or more. I'm going to do something. I'm going to take action in my life in at least one way in order to make it better as a result of reading this book. By far and away, the biggest thing for me was if I am choosing to keep things in my space, things around me, things that are affecting my mindset, things that are affecting my ability to walk around my apartment, I need to treat them like they are extremely valuable. One of the things that actually are pretty valuable and I want them to be treated better are my handbags. And what I realized reading this book, and I was like so excited to do this when I read it, was that we often just like leave everything in our purse. Right? My wallet's in there. Every shade of lipstick is in there. Liners, everything. We got mirrors, business cards, tissues, everything. Everything is in your handbag. And you just come home and you put it down and all that stuff. And every time you pick it up and put it down and all of this is beating down your handbag over time. Well, she gave this great advice in the book to empty out your handbag every single time. And I thought, God, that would solve a lot of problems because every time I go to grab a new purse, I wouldn't be wondering if I remembered to pack something because I likely left it in another purse if I never left anything in my purses. So what I've done is I bought a fancy pair of shoes. Fancy pairs of shoes come with nice boxes. So I took the fancy box and instead of breaking it down and getting rid of it as I usually do, I'm using one nice solid shoe box as my handbag box. Every time I come home, as long as I'm not taking multiple trips out of the house with the same bag in one day, I typically only do this once a day. At the end of the day of using my purse, I take it, I dump everything out of it into my handbag box, which now sits in my closet, which now has plenty of space because I've gotten rid of so much clothes now. And now everything I usually keep in my handbag is in this box, and then I put my handbag nice and neat on the shelf where it sits to rehabilitate itself after a long day. Game changer. Okay, I feel like I actually am treating these things I spend so much money on with the respect that I feel that they deserve, and all of my junk is in a box, as it should be. That was my game-changing action. I would love to hear what yours was. If you read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, what was your aha moment? Share that in the comments below. And if you haven't read the book yet, I would love to hear what is something that you think would be a big change in your life, in your mindset, in your everyday as a result of decluttering your home. Share that below. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you subscribe for good vibes and remember to continue to go after the life that you want. Cheers.